Man accused of anti-Asian attack in New York City was on parole for killing mother. Oh, really? He was a black man, by the way. They don't tell you about that. Oh, so the guy that attacked that old Asian broad in New York, you saw that? Did you see that video? There was video footage. Knocked some broad down, punched her, and then kicked her while she was down. So he was a murderer. Lovely. Of course, you didn't hear too much about this on the news. Obviously not, because, it's a black dude. I got to talk about a black dude. If he was white, it would be headline news for months and months, and there'd be riots. There'd be riots. Oh, Whitey's killing us black people. Oh, Whitey's attacking us poor black people. Or in this case, an Asian broad. There wouldn't be riots then. But if it was a black woman instead of an Asian woman, then there would be. But because she's Asian and she's supposedly a white ally, which means she's on the same level as Whitey. How about that? Maybe a little lower. Is an allied equal? Maybe, yeah. Asians are no longer a minority, right? Yeah, they do too good in America. Oh, and the right has been pointing that out a lot lately. So we have to reclassify Asians from a minority to white allies to explain why they're so successful. By the way, why don't you black people become white allies? Then you could be successful too, right? But via your own ideology. No! We're natural-born rebels. We must fight you, evil Whitey. In the country you built. And that has given us so much prosperity. I see. Anyway, before I get into this story more, I'd like to ask those of you out there who like and appreciate my content to go check out my website, therealistphilosopher.com. That is therealistphilosopher.com. You'll find a lot of useful and interesting links, including the menu at the top of the page, all my social media platforms, as well as my BitChute, which to date has more than 1,200 pieces, and that's where all my content eventually ends up. So you want to check out my back catalog of content, go there, bitchute.com/therealistphilosopher. You'll also find a lot of interesting and useful services that I offer outside of this show as a philosopher on my website. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the page at therealistphilosopher.com, you'll find 3 donation methods if you want to support my content further. Number 1 is my Bitcoin wallet address. Number 2 is my Cash App address. And number 3 is my Patreon, which is a per-piece platform of a subscription style. So I make about 8 pieces a month. If you donate $1, that would be $8 a month, 50 cents, $4 a month. You get the idea. Whatever you donate, greatly appreciated. I could use any help you have to offer. So go check that out, therealistphilosopher.com. That is therealistphilosopher.com. Okay, back to the story. So the man accused of anti-Asian attack in New York City was on parole for killing his mother. What? How do you get out of jail? You get parole for killing your mother now? Jesus Christ. Of course he's black. I thought that black people were, when they were thrown in jail for serious crimes, they were put under the jail. They were never let out. They were treated worse than Whitey. Yet this guy got out on parole for killing his mother. And he's homeless. I didn't think they let people out on parole who had nowhere to go, because then they would be more likely to commit a crime. They already have a proven track record of doing that, and now they have nowhere to go, so they would be more likely to commit a crime to provide for themselves and give themselves what they need to survive. Maybe that's just a silly notion. No, you're being silly, realist philosopher. Criminal murderers aren't more likely to commit crimes when put into desperate situations than non-criminals, you silly man, you. So a homeless man accused of attacking a 65-year-old Asian-American woman in New York City on Monday was on parole for killing his mommy. He got mommy issues. Maybe that's why he beat this old woman up. He's got mommy issues. You look like my mama. Oh, man. By the way, this is where the propaganda starts. Notice they just say, homeless man. They don't say the race. They don't speculate about the reason for the attack. There's no mention of a possible hate crime, even though they're different races. Oh, no. It's just a man. A homeless man. Oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, poor homeless man. And he's homeless. A lot of homeless people are nuts, right? Well, we're just going to tell you he's homeless. Oh, crazy fucking homeless dude. Nothing to see here. Move along. No need to speculate like we always do when it's a white guy that commits the crime. Speculation, it's only allowed when Whitey's the perp. You got to spread that myth of evil, dangerous Whitey. Yeah. Anyway, the story goes on by saying the man, Brandon Elliott, 38, was arrested and faces multiple charges, including felony assault as a hate crime. Oh, really? He's going to be charged with a hate crime. I guarantee you that if the victim had been white, he would not have been. Separate assault and attempted assault. It's interesting. Attempted assault? That's weird. Well, if you attempted it, that would mean, wouldn't it, that you didn't actually succeed? Like attempted murder? How do you charge somebody with attempted murder if they actually succeeded and killed the person? I don't get it. How could it be attempted assault when he actually succeeded in assaulting her? Anyway. And attempted assault is a hate crime, the New York Times reported. Notice they said the man, not the black man. So a lot of people reading this, by the way, when they first read it, thought it was a white dude. And they're running all over Twitter and Facebook, all the blue check marks. Oh, this was probably a white supremacist hate crime. Hate crime. Must be a white guy. Then they found out it was a black guy, and crickets. You heard nothing more about it. Oh, yeah. Notice they don't say the black man. Oh, no, it's a black man. It's the perp. We don't mention race then. Yeah, not the black supremacist man. Not the black supremacist man who is yet another in a long line of black people committing violent acts against those of other races, especially whitey and Asian people. Oh, no, just a black man. We only add those kind of labels for whitey. Yeah. Just a man. Yeah, they're just giving you the facts. Notice how stripped down and bare bone this story is as compared to when a white dude commits a crime. Then it's all about white supremacy, white nationalism, white supremacy, white hate, white terrorism. If you want to know if the perpetrator in a story is black, just look at how much they don't embellish, don't speculate, or say the person's race. Same goes for the victim, but in reverse. If they don't say the race, then you know the victim isn't black. If the race isn't mentioned and no speculation is made about motive, then you know the perp was a black man. Elliot was living at a Midtown Manhattan hotel, serving as a homeless shelter. Oh, so he wasn't homeless? Wait. So he's not homeless, right? Because that's the logic of the left, right? We gave a homeless person a house out here in California, so he's not homeless anymore. He's got a roof over his head, right? Paid for by taxpayers, so he's not homeless, right? No, he's still homeless. Because it suits our narrative. We want to paint him as a kook. We want to paint him as a nut job. Crazy homeless person. He was homeless, you see, so he was crazy. Otherwise, he's not homeless. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. I see your little linguistic tricks. Yeah. Midtown Manhattan Hotel? Now New York City is doing this? I thought it was only out there in California they were doing this. Paying $100,000 for a two-man pup tent and put people up in the 4-star hotels. Now they're doing this in New York, too? What the fuck? I wonder how much this is costing the city, by the way. No doubt it's a bundle, but fear not. Fear not. Biden got the Fed to print up a bunch of fucking funny money, which was then given to blue states in this latest pandemic bailout package to fund their bad decision-making. So now they can continue with their libtard bleeding heart bullshit and give homeless people 5-star hotels and room service. But don't worry. Biden says your taxes won't go up. So he was living in a hotel at taxpayer expense when police said he was caught on surveillance footage punching and kicking Vilma Kari, age 65, who was walking down the street Monday morning in front of an apartment building. And it was all caught on tape, of course. Whenever a black man does something wrong, his race, it'll never be mentioned. It's only when he's the victim that you hear about his race, that he's a black man, because they want you to think all black people are victims. Yeah. And the only time you hear about the race of the perp is when it's a white dude. Yeah, got to spread that white hate, right? Yeah. The video provided by NYPD Crime Stoppers showed the man kicking Kyrie in the chest outside the apartment building. Why isn't this being classified as attempted murder? I mean, you punch an old lady in the face, probably multiple times, knock her down, and then you stomp on her while she's on the ground. Wouldn't that be attempted murder? I mean, old people are rather fragile, aren't they? You don't need to do nearly as much to kill them as you would somebody much younger, especially a woman, and an old woman at that. After she collapsed on the sidewalk, the suspect then kicked her repeatedly in the head. In the head! It's a tough old broad. Tough old broad. I guess she doesn't have osteoporosis, otherwise he would have caved her fucking skull in. Oh, my God. By the way, Doesn't there seem to be a racial component here? Oh, yeah. You don't have to speculate on what his motives were, right? I mean, this isn't something ginned up by the media to replace lack of knowledge in regards to a motive. Or they just insert a motive to replace a known motive that wasn't racially focused, like that dude that went and killed those 8 women, 6 of them Asian, 2 white. But it wasn't because they were Asian. It was because he had a sexual addiction. He blamed them for it. I guess he was going there and getting a lot of happy endings, and he blamed them. Wasn't racially motivated. They knew what the motive was. But the media said, oh, it was a racist terrorist. White supremacist attack. White supremacist attack. Yeah, that's what they do in the media. And we know what the motive was for this guy. A police official said the man started swearing and said, you don't belong here. That's pretty cut and fucking dry, I think. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? You don't belong here. You don't belong here. Why didn't the media mention this? Oh, well, I think we know why. Yeah. The mainstream media, that is, right? Yeah, CNN, MSNBC. I'll tell you why. Because they don't want you to think that blacks can be racist. They want you to see all black people as victims. Oh, they're perpetual victims. They never do anything wrong. That's why the story mentions nothing about the race of either the perp or the victim and sticks solely to the bare-bone facts of the case, and it even omits some of the facts, like the perp's motive. Something that never happens when the perp is white. Whenever the perp is white, you're going to hear about their motive, whether or not the media actually knows what it is. If they don't know, they'll just make something up. By the way, what do you think the outcome would have been if this was a white man and he'd done the very same thing to a black woman? Do you think the media would have been this bare bones in their reporting and as colorblind as they are in this story? I think not. Of course not. All we would have heard about for months on end is evil white supremacy. White supremacy! He said that woman doesn't belong here. He's representative of all evil white people. This is white privilege at its worst. This is racism, white terrorism, nationalism, supremacy, blah, 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 all the buzzwords. Oh, that's what you'd have heard for months. But it's an old Asian lady beat up by a black man, so hands off. We don't want to talk about this. We want it to disappear within 24 to 48 hours from the news cycle. Several apartment building workers in the lobby who witnessed the event watched, but appeared to do nothing to intervene. It's great. That's just great. By the way, I wonder what race they were. Were they also black? Is that why we're not hearing what race that these workers were? They were minorities of some kind? Is that why? Maybe some were white. I don't know. Maybe that's why you didn't hear about their race, because they don't want to talk about race at all in this story. We don't want you to think about race. If you think about race, then you might wonder why the race of the witnesses is being mentioned, but not the race of the perp. No, that's not to mention race at all. By the way, this is the apathy that I've talked about in the past. An old woman is getting curb stomped by a black supremacist, and no one lifts a finger to help. What a sorry state the majority of men are in America, made into weaklings, so weak that they won't raise a hand to help one of their fellow citizens in need. Does anyone think these bystanders would have done this, or not done anything, I should say, if this was, say, 1950? Do you think if we were back in 1950s America, this would have been allowed to happen? I don't. I think that black homeless man would have gotten his ass kicked if he were stupid enough to do such a thing back then. Of course he wouldn't have, because he would have been the one that got curb stomped and probably killed for attacking an old woman. He did it now because he knows people are afraid of him. I'm black. I'm privileged. Yeah, what a fucking coward. Beating up an old woman. Oh, my God. Now, of course, it could be that the bystanders feared him because, he's black. And don't kid yourself. The left, the powers that be, they've done all they can to make other races, especially whites and Asians, fear the black man. And, of course, Jews to a certain extent. Of course. Blacks are their most useful idiot shock troops. Just look at BLM. They don't want you to fight back against their jackbooted thugs, their brown shirts, their unofficial agents of the state who will bring about change through anarchy. It's a black man. We better not intervene in him curb stomping that old lady. The building's management company, the Brodsky organization, said the employees who saw the attack were suspended pending the outcome of an investigation. They should be fired. And good. Good. I hope they're fired. There were a lot more of them than this black dude. They could have done something, but they didn't. I say shame on those pussy wimp simps. We need to bring back shame, by the way, but for the right reasons, not the candy-ass bullshit, wrong-think crap of the left. These guys should be ashamed of themselves for not helping this old woman. Shame on you, scum. These cowards failing to help this old woman. They should be immediately fired. Fuck being suspended. Oh, but I can't automatically fire them. There's a union, and I have to go through all these hoops to fire people from my own company. Of course, you could say they're not required to put themselves at risk as part of their job. I mean, it's not in their job description, right? Maybe not. But doing nothing makes them look bad, and it makes their employer look bad. It also allows evil people like this black man to get away with their crimes. Not to mention how the lack of action on their part encourages others to do this exact same kind of thing. Evil is only able to prosper if good men do nothing. Good men gotta start doing shit again and stop being so apathetic. Kyle Bragg, the president of the union representing staff members. I called it. I knew it. Union. It's great. Unions are evil, by the way. I might talk about that in another video. Representing staff members issued a statement saying the staff had immediately called for help and urged people to avoid a rush to judgment until the investigation was over. Oh, wow, they're so brave. They called somebody else to do something. They should be lauded as heroes, not shamed as the cowardly scum they are because they picked up a phone and called the cops while that old lady was getting curb stomped to death. By the way, is this Kyle Bragg talking about judgment of the man who beat up the old lady, or the coward losers who did nothing to stop him, who were members of his union? As for a rush to judgment, the only people who tell you not to judge others are usually those who have themselves done something worthy of being judged. Usually something bad, as people generally don't have a problem with being judged positively for their good actions. No, people only have a problem with being judged. Don't judge me when they do something fucked up. Trust me, had these cowards not been cowards and rushed to this old lady's defense, they'd have had no problem being judged as the heroes they would have been had they had the balls to do something. Oh, but since they chose the other route of being cowards, don't judge us. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna judge you, motherfucker. We need to judge people more, not less. Of course, the left doesn't want you to judge them as they judge you constantly. Of course, judgment's a powerful tool. They don't want you to have it. They want to have a monopoly on judgment and ostracism, which they pretty much already do. So the story goes on by saying a group of tenants from the building issued a statement Wednesday in support of the employees. Of course they did. They're dues-paying members, saying the security footage released by the police did not accurately show the extent of the staff's response. Yeah, it did. They didn't do anything. That's all I need to know. Oh, man. By the way, these must have been minorities. Yeah. Something that's more and more often the case as evil whitey gets phased out in America. Yeah. Upon full review of the video recorded incident, we do not believe the 360 West doorman staff have failed us as residents. Our Midtown Manhattan community, nor our fellow AAPI New Yorkers, said the statement. Oh, of course. Now we've got some rich liberals coming out in defense of these doormen. What buildings do have doormen? Buildings that have a lot of rich motherfuckers living in them, yo. Yeah, of course. Rich liberals who can afford to live in buildings that have doormen, they can't pass up the chance to virtue signal on behalf of the little guy. Like I said, they're minorities. I guarantee you if all these doormen had been white, oh, the people living in this building wouldn't be coming forward and speaking up for the cowardly scum who didn't rush to the aid of this little Asian woman. I'll tell you that. Oh, they're white. No. We can't virtue signal on behalf of whitey. Only minorities. And of course, these people that live in this building, they don't want to address the assault itself as the purpose black man. And the victim was an Asian. We can't talk about that. It goes against our narrative. We don't even know what happened. Our brain immediately scrubbed that image because it goes against our ideology. But they stand up for the doorman who did nothing. That's great. Carrie received treatment. That's the old Asian woman that got beat up for her injuries at NYU Langone Hospital and was released Tuesday evening, hospital officials said. Notice there's no details about the extent of her injuries, which is how you know they were pretty bad. Otherwise, they'd have been presented as what they were. Not serious, if they were not serious. So, She was pretty fucked up by this attack. I love how they minimalize the actions of their useful idiot black sheeple perps. No, she was worked over pretty good, from what I understand, which is why you're not hearing about the specifics of her injuries. As for why this happened, let's be honest, most blacks hate Asians. They hate them. Not all, but most. Why, you might ask? Because most Asians come to America and continue to come here without a pot to fucking piss in. In addition, they're a smaller minority than blacks, yet they eventually, generally, end up doing far better than blacks in most cases. In fact, they not only end up doing better than blacks, but they end up doing better than whites. They're only beat out by Jews, who the blacks usually focused their animus on until the media and academia started focusing their ire on Asians and reclassified them as white allies, which revoked their minority status. Now it's open season. It's open season on Asians, baby. We used to hate Jews and express our animus toward the Jews and whitey, but now we're going to include Asians and we're not going to really harass and assault Jews as much. The existence of Asians and them doing so well in America largely disproves the left's narrative about how racist and oppressive America is towards minorities. Their continued success through hard work and determination is a stark contrast when compared to the utter failure of so many blacks who claim they can't make it because of evil whitey. Many blacks envy Asians their success and hate them for casting a light on the lie that is their self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. Ooh, I can't get by because of evil whitey. I'm a minority. Oh, look at those Asians. They're a smaller minority than you, and they came here with nothing, and now they own their own business. Oh, I gotta kill that Asian motherfucker. I gotta get rid of him. I gotta sully their image so that nobody sees this contrary example that shows the lie that I believe in. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section about this story. Was the media working to actively obfuscate the race and the motives of this person? Let me know in the comment section. And please like and subscribe to my BitChute channel if you have not already. BitChute.com/realistphilosopher. That's BitChute.com/therealistphilosopher, where you'll find all my content. And again, if you really like and appreciate the red-pilled nature of my content, please consider making a donation by going to therealistphilosopher.com. That is therealistphilosopher.com, and scrolling down to the bottom of the page. I could really use your help.